And we are here tonight for something special.
Something close and dear and very near to all of our hearts.
Now, it's a review!
Oh boy.
Some of our most watched and liked videos have been our reviews.
We've only done
3.
3?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we decided to bring it back.
Final 4. Arcade.
And then that one AWA show.
Yes. We did do that one ADV show. I remember Billy Jack Strong dumb looking as the thumbnail for some reason.
Yes.
That was amazing.
For the longest time, I thought that was Mike Awesome when I look back at it.
I thought so too. I'm glad I wasn't the only one.
So we're here tonight to talk about Vengeance 2007. Now
Why?
Why not?
That's a good point.
Now, a very special show for a few reasons. The last Vengeance, the first Night of Champions, one of the first Fatal 5-Ways. Maybe the first Fatal 5-Way. I don't know, they could do one like in 92.
92?
92. Now, we don't have the laptop anymore, so you don't have thumbnails, so you're just going to have to watch a match in the background.
Yeah.
But this ties into Night of Champions, so screw you. Alright, the show opened up with the World Tag Team titles on the line. Challengers Jeff and Matt, your Hardy Boys, took on champions Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch. And boy, this was an emotional roller coaster of a show for us.
Yes, it was.
Seeing some of our good old 2007 boys back.
Guys that we don't see anymore, like Jeff and Matt Hardy.
Yep.
Yep.
Ric Flair and Sting.
Sting.
Alright. Now, first, they did this before every title match they showed past champions.
Guys that from the past that were champions.
Good. And they showed Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda. 2 men who will never have family that does anything in this business.
Yep.
Anything meaningful.
Yep.
Alright. So, overall, this was a good match. I don't know how we're going to be doing this. If we're taking turns reading notes or just saying stuff.
I think we'll just say stuff one after another, and it'll gently flow normally.
Probably
Conversation.
won't, but let's see. The match started off with they did a test of strength, and Lance Cade broke it clean.
You know, this will not be the only time tonight you see a test of strength that just it's weird.
That one was more disappointing when it ended, but we'll get to it. But they not test of strength, my bad, a lockup, and it broke clean. And that happened twice, and then Lance Cade, being a nice, young, swell fellow that he is, went for a handshake, and that dastardly hero, Matt Hardy, kicked him. Like an asshole.
Hey, Matt was being the heel he knew he had to be.
Alright. Now, my first note after that was, Cade was very athletic for a man his size.
My first note after that was, when Cade ran over to Murdoch to go whisper in his ear, Cade was getting ready to just make out with him.
Yes. I thought he grabbed him to just kiss him on the head.
And I was like, Cade, Murdoch, you weird Southerners.
Nah, but Lance Cade, it looked like he had everything to make it in this business. I thought he had everything to make it in this business. Unfortunately, he died before he could.
Know, I always thought that kid Garrison Cade would have really had it.
Nah. He didn't have the name of Lance. Edge? No, I'm not talking about him yet. Alright, so, where was I going to try? So, Cade and Murdoch tried to walk out. Like the match, it was a good match.
Basic heels were trying to escape without any consequences, but the Hardys wouldn't let that happen.
Yeah, it was what you expect. The heels, they got beat up early by the Hardys. The Hardys ran wild early. Cade and Murdoch tried to left. The Hardys stopped them. Murdoch got thrown back in the ring. He ran out of the ring again. Matt chased him. He rolled back in the ring on his side of the corner, and when he did, Lance tagged himself in. Matt went for a kick. Murdoch caught him. Lance chop blocked Matt's leg, and that's when they started really working over
the leg
of Matt Hardy.
It was when this time we realized, who's Southerners really working the legs? We're never going to see that, especially in WWE's tag team division anytime soon. Especially anytime right now. There will never be a revival of any kind of tag team that does any kind of leg-based offense, ever.
There won't be. But Lance Cade and Matt Hardy, Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch worked over Matt Hardy's legs.
Really often.
They did. And Matt, as you would expect, was a guy getting worked over for this match. Because it's 2007. He's not going to beat a hot tag man. You know who was a hot tag man? Jeff Hardy. And you know what his hot tag was? He did a springboard kick in. But it wasn't a usual springboard kick when you bounce off the top rope. He started on the apron, and he just sort of threw his leg over it and lightly kicked Lance Cade, and he fell down too. Now, most wrestlers, this would get a boo or you fucked up chant. This is Jeff Hardy, so it got a woo. The crowd was happy enough to see Jeff Hardy do something.
I guess when you see Jeff Hardy fall for most of his career, anything's pretty good at this point. He can make anything look good.
Now this match, when Jeff got tagged in, Jeff did really all of his stuff.
Yeah,
He
Jeff
did.
hit his spots. He hit the Whisper in the Wind on, I think, Cade.
He did that corner kick with a guy sitting in a corner, and he,
Ladies and gentlemen, we're ready to get this match
yeah,
started.
he went for the Swanton Bomb the first time, and Trevor Murdoch got on the apron, and Matt ran in to stop Murdoch, but that distracted the ref. So Trevor Murdoch pushed Jeff off the ring when Matt, being the big dummy he was, distracted the ref. And then Matt and Murdoch brawled on the outside. Cade hit his cool.
Struggling for control right now.
Inside the ring on Jeff.
I don't even remember what the finish
It
was
looks
called.
like it was. I think it was just a spine buster. honestly.
It was a spine buster, but like,
Well,
yeah, it's like one hand spine buster. What great reviews we
I
are.
don't think I've ever seen a more confident look, Cole.
It was okay. So I remember looking back at it. It was almost like the lowdown, but he didn't. It was like a Clash Titus basically.
Yeah, it's a combination of D'Lo, Titus.
He also did a spine buster really.
Yes. And Cade and Murdoch did retain the tag titles.
I thought the match was pretty well.
I said, when I found out who the two teams were, I thought it was going to be awesome.
Yeah.
It was good.
It was a good opener. Had the crowd very hot on his feet for the night. The crowd was really hot for this show.
Yes. The crowd, I was surprised to how hot the crowd was for the next match, but we'll
Yeah,
get to
it
that in a
was on the
second.
attack
My
now.
next note says Booker T and Sharmell backstage.
Yes.
Now, I took no notes for that, but
I did. I took some.
All right, what do you have to say?
Well, basically,
He took an incredible
Sharmell tries to,
pounding there.
tell Booker, because Booker is.
Wait, hold on. Do we want to do star ratings like we saw off the top of our head? Okay, here's how we do it. We're not. Yeah. Hold on. We're not like trying to critique their work rate or anything. I'm doing my star rating as a combination of how good the match was, but also how much I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah. This is all purely for just entertainment
Yeah, so,
purposes.
but we'll still do out of 5 stars
Because
because
yeah.
I think that it was a good match, but I was sort of expecting a little more. But I think it was an average tag team match. I'll give it like a 2.25.
I would also say it was a very average match for the start of the show. It was a good opener. It did get the crowd hot.
Just timed that perfectly.
I'll give it a little bit higher with like.
Look, Edge is on
All
the
right.
attack
My only
now.
issue is that it is a pay-per-view match, and it did feel like a Raw tag match. But you know what? Compared to some of the other title matches on the show, this was actually pretty good. So you know what? I'll give this 2.5 too. I'm thinking about the other tag title match coming up later on the show. All right, but what did you have to say about Booker and Sharmell?
Well, Booker T and Sharmell backstage, they had a bit of a meeting. Team Booker, I should say. Sharmell basically is trying to give Booker T the advice, give him the pep talk before he goes into this main event tonight.
What a main event.
Sharmell, trying to list off all the men in the match, what their accomplishments are. And Booker, being the five-time WCW champ, now being the former world heavyweight champ,
I do only say it 3 times.
five-time WCW champ.
He also listed off that he was a tag team United States and Intercontinental champ. I do remember that.
All right, fine. You got me there. But basically, Booker tries to shun her away and put her down. And go, you know what? I got this. I'm one half of Harlem Heat.
Absolutely has to get back in the ring.
All right, that is true.
That is true.
All right, I mean, that's more notes than what I had back for it, so good enough. The second match, now this match, this is when the emotional roller coaster really began. Because it was for Chavo, we heard Chavo, and I thought, okay, the ECW title match. That's a different story for the next match. But we'll get to that soon. But I realized Chavo came out with a Cruiserweight title. And the man that they showed in the highlight package for former Cruiserweight champions was Dean Malenko. And Jordan and I, we all good Dean Malenko fans. And we heard Dean, we were like, I wonder if Dean's in the crowd. Like Barry and Bulwar. That was his name.
Okay, I'm like, oh.
Dallas. And instead, they cut to him backstage, watching, standing, not even sitting. Standing in an empty locker room by himself.
Normal guy watching the show from behind the scenes that they cut to backstage. Normally, if you're a wrestler, you get that spot, which made me wonder: is Dean Malenko coming out of retirement for the Cruiserweight Championship?
And sadly, the answer was no. But the challenger, the real one, that was a good enough replacement.
Yes, it was.
It was Jimmy Wang Yang. And my God, to go from Dean Malenko to Jimmy Wang Yang.
What an emotional roller coaster it was. Those 3 seconds.
Yes. And you know what?
This
I
could
will
be the
honestly
turning
say,
point.
this match
man,
had a
Batista
lot
did
more
choke
crowd
her out.
reaction than I was
Man,
expecting
that
it
was
to.
so
Yeah.
close. I thought it was over.
Cruiserweight matches
isn't
now,
gonna go away
you're
that
like,
easy.
man, what's the difference? Well, the difference is they're not having the cruiserweights go on after a SmackDown whenever it's blown up.
And there's no Asian cowboys.
Yes.
Alright, I'll just sort of read off my notes, and then you can read off your notes, and then we'll sort of compare. That may make this easier.
He reverses it.
Alright, the first thing I noticed about the match was
His shoulders
they
are
went
down.
kind of quick early on. The first major spot was Chavo pulled the ref over to him to bitch, and when Jimmy got close, he pushed away the referee, and then he hit Jimmy Wang Yang to take the advantage. Jimmy Wang Yang started to fight back, hit a Kimura, when we call him the Brock Lesnar of the Cruiserweight division back then.
Oh man, he has plenty of reason to be concerned here, guys.
Jimmy Wang Yang did his running kick where the opponent's in the corner. He runs, he kicks, and he does a backflip with it. Only Chavo Guerrero just chucked him right out of the ring, saying, bro, why are you trying to be fancy? They fought on the outside a little. Chavo, and they brawled back into the ring. Chavo went to the top rope, where Jimmy hit a nice insecurity. Chavo fell from the top, but Jimmy sort of got caught.
I was going to say, something I didn't realize until now, just thinking about it. These two do have history going way back. Chavo and Jimmy Wang Yang. Jimmy Wang Yang was a former teammate with the Young Dragons. Chavo was with Misfits of Action back in WCW. They were WCW Cruiserweight editors.
They were.
So there's a little bit of, you can tell that they know how to work each other.
They do. And they had a pretty good cruiserweight match. So Jimmy did his big insecurity from the top rope. Chavo fell to the outside, and Jimmy still got caught on the top rope, just hanging there, but he fell back in. Jimmy went to the outside to get Chavo back in because he can't win the title by count out, something we may see later tonight. And he threw Chavo back in, and he ran at Chavo. Chavo hip-tossed Jimmy into the corner, and Jimmy actually went up high, like his leg and his lower back got caught on the top turnbuckle. It was actually pretty awesome. They kept fighting. Wang went for his moonsault. Chavo missed. Chavo moved. He went for the gory bomb. Jimmy countered into a roll-up for a 2 count. The crowd was hyped at this. They wanted Jimmy Wang Yang. I wanted Jimmy to win. And the crowd got pissed when he kicked out Yang. Top. Chavo pushed so that he falls, landing on the taco. Fell onto the mat. Chavo went to the top. They get back up, crawling on his hands and knees, but Chavo...
My notes aren't very much different. I still think
trying to get
Team
back
Elite
a
actually
bad way right
is that
now.
I do like the fact that Jimmy watches Chavo's videotapes. Guy who's that? I think it was Jake.
Oh, yeah.
And made me question the fact that in 2007, is Jimmy Wang Yang still watching videotapes? I was like, he is an Asian cowboy. I can very much see Jimmy Wang Yang still to this day studying old-fashioned VHS tapes. Chavo Guerrero from WCW to get some knowledge on him.
I can't do. Watching his Young Dragons Misfits match back.
Yeah. There was also the fact that the crowd was against Chavo, which he was playing heel.
Oh,
but
yeah. They will.
Chavo's from El Paso, which he's like almost hometown.
Yeah.
So seeing that the crowd was willing to turn on Chavo was also just showing that the crowd was very
Pro face that night.
yeah, they were very pro face.
Especially when he went for the Three Amigos.
Yeah.
And the crowd still booed.
Yeah, that showed you that it didn't matter. Chavo wasn't getting
Not
any
where he wants to be
face
right
heat.
now.
But that
or face
just
pumps.
that just shows the love that the crowd has for that Asian cowboy.
Well, Texas.
Yeah.
Houston was on fire for that Asian cowboy.
Do you have any other big notes you want to add for that?
He's playing with him now.
Alright. I think that match was fun.
Yeah, it was a pretty good match.
It was a good cruiserweight match. It was fun. I liked it better than the
This
opener.
could be it, Cole.
And
Yeah.
since I gave the opener 2 1/4.
Give it to him.
And
Alright,
this
2
has got to be it.
Well then, I guess I had a lot of fun watching it. I think the fact that it was fun, I enjoyed it better than it actually was.
I think
I think
we
it's
purely had more fun because we knew it was Chavo Guerrero and Jimmy Wang Yang having a cruiserweight match. And seeing cruiserweight matches now,
that are not fun.
it's just in comparison, it's light and dark. It's two different things.
Watching a crowd have fun watching the cruiserweights.
Made us have fun watching the cruiserweight.
Yes. So like, I do want to give this like a 3
I will
star
give it a 3 star.
because I don't know if it was actually 3 stars. If
the
I
crowd
if I
was
watched
hyped enough
this
for it.
back and it's my first time seeing these guys wrestle each other in a while, like,
Yeah.
it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
I will agree. Think
amazing
back to what I
contest
said
comes
about
to a close
being
following
so
a-
hot earlier tonight, even with the tag team match. They were on fire all the way through, personally. But with this match in particular, they didn't slow down. They were up. They were having fun throughout the whole thing. So I definitely think, even like how loud the crowd reacted to some of the spots, you wouldn't think that in a second match, in a cooldown match like a cruiserweight title match, you would get loud reactions from Jimmy Wang Yang and Chavo Guerrero.
Yes. All right, now, the next thing was a segment, and I honestly will say I picked this
forgot.
pay-per-view because of the main event, the Fatal 5-Way. And
We
but
had
then,
no idea.
as the show goes on, a realization came of what this pay-per-view, what
Was.
really happened. And it all starts off with, they showed a recap of Vince McMahon's limo exploding.
Oh boy.
And the limo blows up, and they were trying to show it, like in a replay, that Vince McMahon somewhat knew that something was up. Like there was something wrong.
Premonitions.
Yes, they actually said he had premonitions.
He had premonitions of his death.
He knew that something was coming. Like, they showed him walking backstage, and he felt like he was getting watched. So he stopped, and he looked behind him, and there was just two lonely stagehands just sitting on a box. They didn't know what was going on.
Just talking.
They're just talking, just chilling. And Vince, when he just sees it's them, he continues to walk. But then he stops again and
They
looks.
start talking.
They start talking. And then, as he gets to the limo, he sort of opens the door, but he stops his hand. And he pauses for a second, because he doesn't know if he actually wants to open the door. But then he finally does. He gets in the limo, but you see his foot. It goes in the limo, but then it goes back out of the limo. He's obviously nervous about something. This very, like, he saw something bad was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then he finally closes the door, and the limo blows the hell up. And Vince be dead.
Vince was dead.
Now, the announcers try to play it off like, oh, maybe there was somebody in the limo with him. Like, maybe that was his attacker. The issue with that is, if that was his attacker and the limo was him, the attacker blew up too.
Well, who knows? I was gonna make a joke about suicide bombing. I was like, that's a really touchy subject.
Is this the one with... Did the PI show up yet? No, that's later in the show.
Yes.
Alright, so they just showed the recap of that. And then Bobby Lashley shows up.
I was gonna stop you there because I was gonna say
Alright.
the FBI, the lead investigator for.
Well, we're not at him yet.
Well, he shows up to just say that he's doing his investigation.
Alright.
So the lead federal investigator, he's not a FBI investigator. He's the lead federal investigator, and he classifies himself as working for the bureau. So it's implied that he's an FBI agent, but they don't specifically say he is a federal, he's an FBI agent. So that's the first thing that came to my mind.
Oh, is this when he says, like, the DNA?
Yes.
Alright.
That's what's
Continue.
talking about the DNA
Alright.
from Vince McMahon being found, and that's how they classified. Which another thing makes me wonder, that explosion would have torn up everything in there on fire. How did they get a slight piece of DNA? From
Well-
maybe hair, maybe it could have been anything, like a fingernail.
Well, it's
but-
not only that. They said they found DNA of Vince McMahon, the limo driver, which means that the limo driver blew up and no one cared, and another well-known source.
No
But
one said anything.
They didn't. But then they cut to, like, a WWE.com vote where you could vote who it was, and there was, like, Jonathan Coachman, Bobby Lashley, Donald Trump, Eric Bischoff, Stephanie McMahon, Triple H, Paul London.
The limo driver.
The limo driver blew himself up to get Vince.
The limo driver, another assailant, and Vince blew up.
Yes.
It could have been anyone. Maybe it was Vince himself.
Maybe it was. Who knows? I do find it funny that they had the DNA of the well-known person, but they were still not telling us who that well-known person was.
Yes.
All right. Did you write down anything from the Bobby Lashley showing up? I didn't, but I somewhat remember Bobby Lashley was like been screaming up the ECW title.
Now he's dead.
Pretty much. All right. Speaking of the ECW title,
Oh boy.
well, just going from great news to great news with this show. CM Punk versus Johnny Nitro.
Wonder why. Oh man, I'm not even gonna. First, we're gonna talk about Taz. Taz
Alright.
being the first person. To
All
make
right, so
anyone
they
tap
showed
out.
they showed for the ECW title. They showed a picture of a video of Taz, and Joey Styles was going on about Taz's accomplishments, and I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure
No, you're not wrong. This is what he said.
Joey Styles said that Taz is the first man to make a man tap out for the victory.
For him if he's able to walk out of here as
Now,
the
I don't know
champion.
what crack
That's
Joey
what you
Styles
see
has
in
been
the big bucks.
smoking.
The one that New Jack gave him.
What a good man. He knew better. He knew he had to take it, or New Jack would stab him. But I don't know what crack he was smoking. But I don't think Taz was the first man to ever make anyone tap out.
Maybe he meant an ECW.
Maybe.
But the way he worded
Lance
it,
Storm does a Boston Crab as a finisher. Jericho worked there. Benoit worked there.
Benoit didn't work tonight.
Oh, he did work for ECW tonight, and we'll get to that because this is the ECW part of the review.
All right. So, if you don't know what this weekend is,
Oh boy,
this is not a good weekend.
Vince is dead, but the only reason why Vince is dead for this while is because someone else is gonna be dead soon.
Let's just say that the night after this, we were supposed to have a Vince McMahon memorial show.
It turned into another man's memorial show,
That man was supposed to wrestle CM Punk for the ECW title.
but it ended up being Johnny Nitro.
That man did not show up, and
I'm so sad.
So, it was CM Punk versus Johnny Nitro. Honestly, we went downstairs for dinner during this match. We had it on, but I didn't really take notes during dinner.
The biggest note is that Johnny Nitro should not be in this match. The biggest note is Johnny Nitro should not be in this match. Come on now.
Johnny Nitro should not have been, but
Let's be honest to you, me, and the viewers. Johnny Nitro shouldn't.
They
be
were
in this match.
unseen circumstances.
Forces.
Yes, that sort of played a role in this weekend. But they didn't take.
The show must go on.
The show must go. We'll get
and
to.
nobody knew it till the next couple days after.
But from like I said, I didn't take notes. This was for the vacated ECW
I took
title.
notes. And Noir no shows this show.
Oh, that's right.
And introducing the challenger.
I like to meet. Maybe the suicide bomb would be too touchy of a joke. Benoit no shows this show.
50 pounds.
From what I saw, the match looked well enough. It looked like it really only went 10 minutes.
Yeah.
They tried to pack a lot in those 10
This is
minutes.
certainly a big-time title
good.
defense here for
It
the
was
champ,
good.
guys.
But you can bet the champ
Morrison
comes
did
into this
his,
match
like,
more
a
than
yacht kick.
prepared for what's
The-
ahead here
The
tonight.
beautiful disaster. I know what Cody calls it,
Yeah.
but I don't know what Morrison
But
calls
it's going
it.
to take the performance of a lifetime to walk out of
Mojo
here as
Mo Blow.
champion.
Mold.
And I think he
That
knows
sounds
Michael.
gay.
Anybody
It
who's
does.
up for the task
The homo,
is
no, the
certainly
Mojo
him.
Sapiens.
The Mojo Sapiens.
They're gonna eat your lunch. What a shitty T-shirt. But Morrison, he did hit that kick. CM Punk also threw kicks. They
It
were
was a kick fest.
they were kicking each other pretty hard, and
Not the way you think the ECW title would be booked.
nah. And the finish was somehow Punk was caught in the middle rope, and Morrison hit his Moonlight Drive neckbreaker to win. Johnny Nitro, John Morrison, Johnny
Johnny
Mundo,
Impact.
Johnny Impact, whatever
John
the fuck-
Hennigan.
John Hennigan, whatever you want to call him. That man is the ECW champion, and it's best to move on from that match.
Yes.
All right, up next
Umaga.
is Tim. Yes, but up next was the Intercontinental title match. They showed video of Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
I was Pat Patterson. Thank you for stopping me because I was just gonna go with the first one.
Pretty close enough. And Ricky Steamboat came out with the ECW to that's the closest to 07.
Okay, I was a little worried.
And Ricky Steamboat came out on ramp. It was Santino Marella defending the Intercontinental title against Umaga. The story of this was 2 weeks before,
And introducing
2 weeks
the
before,
champion.
Santino showed up in Milan, Italy as a fan.
Mulan.
I don't
Just like Jim Ross.
know. And he beat
41 pounds.
Umaga for the
He is
title with the help of
WWE
Bobby Lashley.
Good
champion.
night.
Now I'll read my notes for this and you can read yours.
As we get
'cause-
started here, let me
All
remind
right.
everybody
So
that
this
the
match wasn't
title is
really
on the line here
much.
tonight.
Yeah.
but that's just a
This
mere
match was
formality. The way I see it,
probably
there's
in
no
match
way we
terms.
crown a new champion
I
tonight.
don't know. I was gonna say this wasn't worse, but I remember that SmackDown tag title match and the
And as
women's
expected,
title.
the champ is
This
looking
may have been the
incredibly
third worst
confident
match on
as
the
he
card. This
prepares
ended
to
in
defend his title
DQ.
here.
Yes.
All right, so the match was Umaga charged Santino. Santino moved. Santino got 2 quick roll-ups on Umaga. Umaga kicked out, but then Umaga really started to take advantage because he is Umaga and he's awesome.
Yes.
And he beat up Santino. Santino was down. Umaga went for his running headbutt. Santino got his knees up, and as Santino took advantage, Umaga just super kicked him. Because, take that, Santino. He's a Samoan. They have hard heads.
Yes.
And then they kept fighting for a while. They got into the corner. Umaga started punching Santino, and he punched him. And he continued to punch him. And as he punched him,
The ref was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're done. DQ.
I think that's the worst DQ finish. It's
Yes.
not even like a foreign object finish. That's like a DQ finish where he got disqualified because he was beating up his opponent.
Yes.
Too much.
There's a
One-on-one for the
difference.
championship.
What happened between Styles and
Brutal
Ellsworth
DDT.
that ended in a DQ? That made sense because Styles really looked like he was beating the shit out of his man. The ref really had to pull him off him. This was different.
Oh, yeah.
It was a
No one
count of
expecting.
5, and most refs it seemed like they get to 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, cut it out, break it up, pull you off of you, stop it before they get to the 5. No, this was just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're out. You're done. I've never, ever in the history of referees ever seen a ref just get to 5 so quickly.
Yes. And then I looked at my next note, and it made me laugh because I remembered there's a black girl in the crowd right on hard cam, and boy was she pissed off. When Umaga got DQ'd and the bell rang, she jumped out of her seat and she stood up and she threw her arms in the air and she started mouthing something and she just was moving.
Passionate.
I was too. And then after the match, Umaga beat up Santino and she started clapping. She was so behind Umaga.
It seems that she really wanted Umaga to win this match.
Yes.
And I don't see why he wouldn't.
She came to the show for Umaga to win the Intercontinental title. He got disqualified. She wasted about like 200, 300 bucks.
Not to take too much more
She
punishment
was
here. He wants to be the one walking
astonished.
away
She was
with the
like,
win.
"What?"
This is all part of the process.
So Umaga, the ref tried to pull Umaga off Santino. Umaga looked at him and the ref dove. The ref sprinted and dove out of the
He
ring.
wants no
I
part of the
kid you not, the ref
outside.
got caught up on the rope, and instead of taking his time to get himself off the rope and get down, he just jumped. He jumped from the middle rope outside the ring.
He was in fear for his life.
I would be too if Umaga was chasing.
Yes. And then Umaga, well, he began to left, but then he looked at his thumb. And he was like, oh yes, my finish is a thumb. And he Samoan spiked Santino. The crowd chanted one more time. He is not Braun Strowman. He just walked away. But then
He was still a heel.
Maria walked out. And Maria ran past Umaga and she went to go see Santino. And I was hoping Umaga just go back in Samoan spike her.
Yeah.
But Umaga just stood at the ramp and yelled.
Still trying to get back to his feet here. He's clearly in a
SummerSlam
bad way
Jackass.
right now.
Oh!
After this, they showed a video package from SummerSlam. The Jackass guys are showing up.
Jack is way too strong to
Does
let
this have
back
to do with
keep him
something with
down.
Johnny Knoxville
Seeing the Viper
telling the
stalk
ring
his
telling
adversaries
asking if
is
he's got a
chilling.
big dick
For
or
some
something?
of the Viper's
Don't remember that.
I'm dead
was
serious.
more than the beginning of the end of the match.
When it comes to the danger and
Well, what was
crossing
Colley's
paths with
answer?
Randy Orton, you have the family
I don't know.
lineage of a
I don't remember that.
superstar
All right.
running through his
I just
veins,
remember Johnny
and you have
Knoxville ended up
Venom,
getting in a
and
feud
that's
with
a
the Great
devastating
Khali.
combination.
Oh no, wait, this is where Daniel Beck, the investigator, showed up and talked about the DNA.
I don't know.
Knocked right
No.
off the apron.
So then, what we talked about was the investigator and the DNA. That was here, but who cares? Already covered it. U.S. title on the line.
Executed.
They showed Magnum TA winning the title, and they cut to Magnum in the crowd.
Good to see Magnum.
It was.
Cena
He like.
shakes off things
I
like
noticed that
in his
Magnum TA
sleep.
looked like a healthy Jake Roberts.
Yes.
Like facial hair-wise. He looked like a. What do you expect Jake Roberts to look like when?
Nasty gut buster.
We're trying to.
trying to review the show, but Booker just made that wide ass swing of a kick and missed the biggest guy in the match.
Yes. If you're wondering why this is going on, we'll get to the main event.
All right.
I'm trying to keep the game as a tie into the show.
He is the clothesline.
But
One misses big
but
time.
MVP came out. This is when MVP, still the highest paid SmackDown contract, with his cool entrance, the inflatable stuff.
I'm coming.
Yeah.
He works his way out.
A bit of a Houdini
It
job
did.
right there.
Thanks for that update, Jordan. That's disgusting. For that update. But MVP came out with his cool ass entrance, the inflatable stuff, the fire going off. And I honestly thought, well, who could his opponent be? Matt Hardy? And I was like, no. SmackDown was in the Matt Down was in the opener. That's what I just
That
said.
down. Why was that never a thing?
I don't know.
Maybe I'd give him an edge.
Well, Matt Down was in the opener, teaming with.
Jeff.
I was about to say Jeff Raw. That doesn't sound as good.
Boo!
But Matt Down was in the
goes
opener.
again.
So I was just trying to think of the SmackDown mid card. And
Booker T
boy,
beat
was I
Prince
shocked when I heard
I
of-
was shocked.
We were both shocked when the answer was woo. And out strutted Ric Flair.
Cactus Jack's on the attack now.
Pretty much. Now, wait a sec. I think we forgot to give a grade for the ECW title
Oh,
match.
and the ref gets taken out.
I didn't really
What's he
watch
made
it,
of?
so I can't really
I was
grade it.
eating.
His
Yeah,
clothesline
we were eating
finds the
food,
mark.
so I'll give it a star to get one.
I'll give you 1 star
Here
because
he comes.
Naito wasn't supposed to be there.
Yes.
Stick to a fear.
All right, so one of the best beginnings of this that I liked was when MVP came out, he went and he yelled at
Ric Flair.
Magnum TA.
He did. He yelled at Magnum first.
And Ric Flair came out and he went to go see Magnum because Magnum was his good old buddy. But MVP got in the way, so the ref moved MVP to the back, or back to the ring, and then Flair got in the ring. And MVP started jaw jacking. He started trash talking. He started getting in Ric Flair's face and throwing some insults, throwing some verbal jabs. And Ric Flair's response, woo, and MVP was insulted.
MVP
Now there's
was
the count.
livid.
MVP cannot believe the disrespect that he was just shown by Ric Flair.
I don't know. Your best insults are all coming up, and there's some pretty damn good insults too. And you just get shut down with woo. You should feel something.
But the crowd was behind. The crowd was more behind Rick's insult than the War Montel's.
Yeah.
All right. I don't remember a lot from this match. Like, they brawled early. There wasn't really much memorable in this match.
Yeah.
Like, somehow, the main spot that I wrote down from the beginning was Ric Flair ended up on the outside of the ring on the apron. And Montel ran at him and did that running big boot that he does to knock Rick off. They got back in the ring. I think Montel punched him once. Rick was bleeding. Because it's Ric Flair.
He's already busted open.
Talk about planning your opponent.
Oh yes, something that I thought about was Montel's big running boot. Like I asked you, couldn't it also easily be like you just low blow yourself a spot?
Yes.
Like you run too hard and you accidentally low blow?
Well, see how Apron was on apron. Rick was on, Flair was on the apron, just chilling out. Well, he was a little dazed, and you know, MVP basically charges towards him on the apron. MVP charges towards him on the apron and big boots him off. And I'm not gonna lie, the spot looked really wicked for Flair to take, even though.
It did.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So Flair just kind of flopped onto the ground.
And not the usual Flair flop.
Yeah, it was just a solid thud. Damn, that's pretty wicked.
Oh man, what a hit.
And then I remember later on, they were in the ring. Ric Flair did work over MVP's leg. I see a set for the figure 4.
Chop blocks, chop blocks, lots of chop blocks, just lots of chops. It's a Flair match, motherfucker.
Yes, they did do an exchange where Montel punched him and Flair chopped him, and it was punch, chop, punch, chop, punch, chop. And then finally, Montel knocks him down with something, and he unzips his big, I don't even know what, the big, it's a weird singlet.
Yeah.
He unzips his singlet to check his chest. That was pretty cool. And then I remember the next.
The chest
Get up, but he's got to get up now.
No, you don't. It's a prize. You have to get.
It's a prize for all those
Gotta be it.
women out there.
But
Men and women.
then, Rick had Montel in the corner. He was doing the mounted punches. MVP
Martel in the corner.
Montel.
Oh, Montel.
He might just be out.
You'll get to Rick Martel later.
Oh, we will get to Rick Martel later. Is that the next match? It is.
Oh boy.
So they were fighting. MVP walks Ric Flair out of the corner and like drops him face first. He goes to do his running boot. Rick moves. MVP finally crotches himself. The way he should have on the top rope. What else
Here he
happened?
goes for the win.
I lost my place in the notes.
And Booker T powers out. What a
That
match.
was the point, but Flair drops for a comeback.
He
They,
starts chopping away.
yes.
chopping away.
Okay, I do remember the finish.
Alright.
Ric Flair got MVP in the figure 4.
Yes.
And MVP got to the ropes. The ref went to pull Rick off, and he did. But Rick started punching MVP. He punched him, and he punched him twice, I'm pretty sure it was. And as the ref pulls him away, like he should have done Umaga, who's a big of a pussy,
Yes.
Montel pokes
right now.
Richard,
Yeah, you're not gonna win
Richard
many
Flair.
matches when you're down.
You had to call his government up for that one.
Yes,
The dirtiest player in the game got out dirty.
he pokes Ric Flair in the eye, and then he does his overdrive, which, and he won. And then MVP retained.
Overdrive, play of the day.
He retained the United States title against Ric Flair. And it was actually a pretty big pay-per-view win for him.
Yeah. I
He's
think
still
this
not
is
moving, guys. He might be out, Cole.
first title.
He doesn't
gets
want to
the
do this
WWE.
outside the ring. Looking to
He
flip the
gets the-
tables
Yes, because he
here.
beat.
Protect this ring.
Yes, he beat.
Shut up. Let me finish. Because he gets the belt and then gets the ring from JBL, being the U.S. champion.
Yes.
So this is his first title run.
I will admit, I'm trying to keep track of this, but that was actually pretty cool. Ornament first comeback, and he first clotheslined Cena. And then Foley got away, so he clotheslined Foley. But then Cena got away, so he power slammed Cena.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. But what I was talking about, MVP won his first title the month after WrestleMania 23, which was this year, so this would be still his first run.
Alright.
Alright. So up next, we get a backstage segment. An interview with John Cena, and it's 2007, probably like halfway through the year. SummerSlam's coming up, so it's probably like July. And the boos are starting for Mr. Jonathan Cena.
Yeah, it's 2007. You kind of can hear bit of a.
And by a bit, he means a good amount.
Yeah.
This has got to be
So
it.
the fact that even the end
That's it. Wait, only
of some
two.
disappointed faces.
Shoulder up in
So
time.
disappointed.
I don't believe it. He refuses to lose.
Yes. Before
If Booker
Josh
T hits this
Matthews,
one, it's
not
over.
Josh Matthews, Justin Roberts could ask any questions. Edge showed. No, it wasn't Josh Matthews. It was Justin Roberts. No, Todd Grisham. I forgot his name.
And
Todd
his body
Grisham
hit
showed
like a
up.
ton of bricks
No,
on
Todd
that
Grisham was
one.
gonna ask questions, but before he could, Edge showed up, and then John Cena's response was to go, "Well, hello there." I wrote.
John Cena very
He's
much
got quit in him
knows how
tonight.
to.
Does he ever, Michael?
I don't know what the word is. Knows how to start a sentence. He knows how to start a conversation,
Well, hello there.
especially with his enemies.
Yes. And the idea was that Edge was trying to say that John Cena could have killed Vince McMahon because John Cena was making jokes at Vince was dead.
Time to
Yes.
get up, guys.
And, you know,
Playing a
John's
little possum
point he
here,
tried to make
Cole.
is, well, you know, they say
And he
the
gets
show
him with
must
the
go
count.
on. I don't
Simply
think
reminding
when
him
Owen Hart
that he's
fell,
here.
anyone was joking about it and went, ha, it's funny.
just a step
Well, you know,
behind there,
the
guys.
show must go on. I
But-
don't think anyone did that.
So, after Edge accused John played it up as like, well, Edge, he's an ultimate opportunist. And John was like, I saw you were supposed to be the most dangerous man in the WWE. I saw you could do anything. And Edge,
That was Edge a plus bag. And that,
oh yeah, a plus bag.
that's, I don't even know. I get what he was trying to call him, but the fact that he didn't end the whole word.
They weren't
is
even PG yet. They could have said it.
Yeah, it was on pay-per-view. You
Yeah.
damn sure could have said it.
This Jack with
Just
the
say
offense.
pussy on pay-per-view. God
Yeah.
damn. So, he says,
It's called-
yeah.
Big
So,
mister in there. And he'll likely pay
Edge
for
gets
it here.
insulted at John gets called a puss bag, and Edge was like, "Oh, I'm capable of doing anything,
I'm
anything
the most
possible.
dangerous
Yeah, I can do stuff you couldn't even imagine." And John goes like, "Oh, I'll leave you two alone." And Edge turns around, and it's the PI guy investigating the death.
Mr.
His name, I got his name. It's Daniel Beck. Yes. And this is a worse PI because if he was paying attention, you could clearly see that John had set up Edge for that.
Yes.
And he just heard that John admitted to making jokes about Vince dying, but his main subject in the interview,
This is what makes him
Edge.
one of the
The
best in the
SmackDown
business.
superstar.
yes, he wasn't even on Raw.
Yes.
Fine buster.
I mean, to be fair,
That's
the
how
only
you
thing
put an
was,
exclamation
like I
point
did,
on the end of a
it
match,
was draft
guys.
night,
Yeah,
so Edge could have been in the building.
he could have been. But after watching that segment, my main focus had not been Edge. It would have been the guy who set up Edge and made jokes about the dead dude.
Yes.
Not the best investigator, just Mr. Daniel Peck.
Yeah,
So after that,
Gregory Watson.
we had the SmackDown Tag Team titles. First, they showed a picture of Tony Gaya. I messed up
He's
spelling
not
his last
getting
name.
Tony Gaya.
Tony Gaya and Rick
Martel.
Martel in the crowd. And out came, this was our
Doesn't
next
show any
big.
signs of getting up here, guys.
It was Deuce and Domino with Cherry.
Will this be it?
And
One, two.
da 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 do.
So close. I can't believe what we're seeing
My
here.
pants. Gonna take you back.
Cactus Jackson
Turn back the
stopped playing
hands of
crowd, or it
time.
might come back to
That's
bite him.
when I discovered. That's when I made it mine.
Thud.
My pants couldn't be too tight.
So
That's when I learned to fight. Those are my favorite lyrics. My pants couldn't be too tight. That's when I learned to fight.
Nice job by Randy Orton there.
Sounds how about cool?
With the
Because they're supposed to be
reversal.
cool. Because yeah, it goes, if you want to be cool, half as cool as me, you be careful what you say and how you look at me.
Well, I think there's a man on the roster who's cooler than both.
There's the
of them.
cover.
Well, he wasn't on his pay-per-view.
Why? That's another. That's
All
next.
right, so they came out, and it was an open challenge for the tag team
Now
titles.
he goes for
And
it a second time.
first out came, I'll read my notes first and you read yours, and then we'll sort of talk
You've
about
got
it.
more notes than you, trust me.
First out came Sergeant Slaughter, and Slaughter walked out, and then he was followed by Jimmy Snuka. And halfway down the ramp, I said to you, isn't he one of their sons? I know their father.
Is Jimmy Snuka one of Deuce and Domino's sons? I'm pretty sure.
He could have been. Oh yeah, before Slaughter came out and Snuka,
I don't know. Is that enough to stop Cena?
before Slaughter and Snuka came out, Deuce and Domino cut a promo where we've had this match.
Yes.
Well, one of them said, I didn't even know that Rick Martel and Tony were still alive.
Yes.
So out came Slaughter and Snuka. It was father versus son. Okay, let's see. This was not a good match, ladies and gentlemen.
No, it was.
It was better when Slaughter was in the ring than when
Snuka
Snuka was in the ring. and let's just say Eli Drake has
It might be
improved.
cliche,
Yes.
but it's true here.
All right, Domino, he started the
It's over.
match,
No,
and
there's
he
the
tried
reversal.
to, that's
He
Eli
didn't
Drake.
ever walk the
He
same
tried to
after
do the
that
spot where
backbreaker.
you jump
Flips the
over
script on
Jimmy
there.
Snuka, but you're looking the opposite direction, but you still jump over him even though your back's turned
Few
to them.
superstars are as
And
dominant
Whitworth.
as this
He
guy.
landed his ass on Jimmy Snuka's neck. All right, let's see. Slaughter looked okay was my
Gotta
next
like
note.
the champ's chances now.
Domino was actually in the ring for a good amount of time. It was like that Domino was getting worked over, but he wasn't getting worked
And the
over.
match continues.
But they finally, Domino was in a Cobra clutch, and he blocked it, and he backed into his corner. Domino didn't tag. Domino, what? Wait, Domino was in a Cobra
showing
clutch.
very few signs of life
He
here.
backed it into his
there's
corner.
no way he comes
But
back from
Domino
this.
didn't tag Domino, but hit Slaughter. What? Who is Domino? Wait,
You broke Domino too many times.
He wants no part of the
which one was
outside.
in the ring?
I think, okay, so I want to say Domino didn't tag out at all until like
Yes.
last.
Domino was the one in the Cobra clutch,
So he's
right?
getting worked over. Yes, Deuce was down on the.
All right.
So Deuce tried to go and tag Domino, but instead he kind of just tags the back of Slaughter and
Not even
tries to
close.
accept it as a
What was
tag.
he thinking?
And it's like you can't do that. That's not your partner. The whole match was
He's in
kind
a
of
tough spot here,
clusterfuck.
Corey.
It was Domino,
doesn't get
no
this, he'll do
Deuce,
it right there.
fucking God.
Two. Can you imagine thinking this one was over and then he kicks out like that?
Deuce,
Wow, I thought this was over.
he went for the
Wow,
flying
what
splash
resiliency.
on Slaughter. He looked at his
Keeping him
dad,
down.
and
This is for you, Dad.
he pretty much said "fuck you."
Yeah.
Did the gesture. He went for the splash. Slaughter moved. Slaughter Snuka. Who the fuck are these people? Jimmy Snuka gets in the ring, and Jimmy Snuka. I
can
guess
go a
it's supposed to be the
variety of
splash,
different
but he goes
ways,
for a
Corey.
crossbody
And
onto his
none
son.
of them are good.
Deuce, no, Domino, no, Deuce.
He doesn't appear to be in a hurry to get up
Deuce
here.
rolled
don't
through.
think he
He
has it
pinned
in
his
him
dad to
anymore.
win. They kept beating on their dads. Their dads.
Yes.
Slaughter, the son of
Talk
Domino.
about devastation.
I don't fucking care. They beat him up. Tony Garra and Rick Martel got in the ring, and they went hard.
This is when I wrote.
I can't believe
well,
I'm gonna
actually,
say this, but I'm
Slaughter
with
got
you,
tagged by
Cole.
Deuce Work that. And I go, Eli Drake was a champion in WWE.
Yes.
That is a fact. I had
And you threw me off at first because what you said was Eli Drake.
was a WWE champion.
And I was like, excuse me.
I thought he had to pin for sure. I'm
That's
just
where I
as
wrote
shocked
all
as
caps.
everyone else,
They
Corey.
going.
They going. Talk about the old man. The old man that probably should have been in this match was how they
Yeah.
punched. Slaughter looked okay. Snuka looked
Terrible.
shut. Deuce and Domino, I'm still not sure which one's which. Cherry looked good enough.
Randy Orton.
He's got everything.
Edge? Grab? What?
He's not getting up.
Where the fuck am I? Oh, I meant I skipped matches. I read Edge grab Domino. I was like, what is going on this show? Alright, up next we had the world title. Thank God.
Answer here.
That's a, we knew that we needed to get through it so quickly. That
Executed.
we finally got to the world title. We were so relieved.
It was Edge, defending champion, taking on Batista, and Batista's last chance. This was built with, when they first fought, I'm pretty sure Batista, he hit the spine buster, but he had a bad leg.
Yes.
And Edge rolled him up and got
This
the
is
win.
the scene
The
that's
second
just
match
a
was a
piece
cage. Edge got out right before
expected
Batista
nothing less,
did.
Cole.
Edge
Ain't
retained.
no stopping
This was
now.
Dave Batista's last match.
Last match.
The last chance.
Do or die stakes.
Edge is champion. Now, I just never understood, who cares if you lose? As long as the stipulation is, it's the last chance as long as that guy's champion. Because then you could just cost him the title and a different guy's champion. Like, this literally cost them their next defense. I don't know if you saw that, but Cena hit You Can't See Me, and Booker hit the Houston Hangover at the same time on Orton.
Oh dear. What?
Yeah.
With the reverse.
But,
What?
yes.
What? I missed that?
Yeah. But
This match seems cool as fuck now. Why am I missing?
Gonna be
Oh,
tough for him to fight
whatever,
back
we got
from that.
this was a
Oh,
real,
first
this
thing
was a
he
good
needs to do is
match.
get back to
Yeah,
his
well,
This was
feet.
probably my
Easier
favorite
said
match on
than
the
done.
card.
Yeah.
Even though it had a screw finish, that just shows you how good this match is. To be fair, Batista's, he's one of my favorites of all.
Fancy from him
What?
there.
We had to get
That was all.
All right, what did we miss?
Power.
Oh, everything almost.
All right, so going back to Santino versus Umaga.
Nice
Yes.
reversal.
That match wasn't really 9. I'll give it 1.5. Because the finish hurt it.
Yeah.
John Cena with a nice reversal.
Give it another one.
All right,
Fuck that match.
maybe 1.25. MVP versus Ric Flair. That was an acceptable 2.25 star match.
Doesn't show any signs of getting up here, guys.
No, he's taking one heck
I
of a beating,
wanted to
Michael.
go a little bit longer, but Flair took a lot of bumps I was expecting. This is probably This is Flair actually coming towards the end of this.
Not today.
Yeah, he's less than a year.
Yeah.
All right, SmackDown Tag Titles. I give him half a star, and an entire half a star is coming from Slaughter.
I'm not even giving him a fucking star.
You're giving him a dud?
Yes, that shit was done.
0 stars. You want to go into the negative?
Oh, minus 5 stars.
He's not going
All
out
right.
like this.
I'm done.
So that match wasn't good, but this match was my favorite match on the show. This is a pretty shit show looking back at it.
The Viper strikes
All
again.
right,
It could be
so-
over here. He's showing some major resiliency
So,
here. Or
I'll
Lewis
read my
sees,
notes first,
depending on how
so you can
look
jump
at
in if you have something to say.
I'll just jump in. 'cause it's
All
not-
right.
Booker T with a
So
slick
Batista, this match did not start how I expected it to.
reversal. Drops the elbow
Shut up.
on him.
This match did not start how I expected it to. Batista was the one. Are you
Sorry,
alright?
broke the pencil.
There he goes. Crashing to the
Batista
floor.
was the one working over sort of like the chain
Showing very
wrestling, the
few
chain
signs of
holds.
life
Yeah,
here.
Batista.
There's no way he comes
arm
back from
drags.
this.
And
Might as well ring the bell
I
now.
wasn't expecting those hip toss and arm drags
Yeah.
from Batista.
He worked over Edge's arm a lot this match.
But Edge also worked over the arm back.
Yeah. They fought, well, he worked the shoulder
The
mainly because
WWE
Batista kept running into the
Championship is
turnbuckle
on
and the
the
ring post like an
line.
idiot.
I'm sorry, the shoulder and the arm are two different things.
Well, like, Batista was working like the part of the arm
He wants no
that's
part of
like
the
sort of
outside.
right under your fist.
Bruh.
And,
bruh,
like, right here.
When you play a video game and you see that body part meter, does it differentiate the shoulder from
I'm
the
talking
arm?
about real life, not a video game.
Well, do you see them differentiate the shoulder and the arm?
Well, maybe they should. That's more in depth.
No, well, you're asking for a game you won't get.
All right, so they brawled to the outside pretty early.
He's
A
bringing it
big
back
spot was
inside the ring
Edge
now.
came off the apron. Batista caught him and hit a spine buster on the apron, which was kind of early in the
Cool.
match. It was early in the match. It was cool. I was expecting it to
Look
play
at this
more.
man.
Yeah.
Business.
Oh yeah, so I forgot. To show
Hit
the
from the
world
clothesline.
title legend was Harley Race. Harley Race was out there, and he booed Edge, he cheered Batista. That's pretty much what it was. The crowd also booed Edge and cheered Batista.
I was very pro-face tonight.
They were.
Another
They got a
slam
pretty
here.
bad show.
Yeah, it
All right.
did. They were a good
He
crowd.
misses on
They
that
were.
one.
Were his eyes
So-
even open?
Edge threw Batista's shoulder into the ring post. Batista went for like a power slam on the outside. Edge got out of it. He pushed Dave into the ring post.
I'm gonna jump in.
Randy
Yeah.
Because
found an
this,
answer here.
when I wrote, Edge starts working the shoulder, and JBL goes, he's taking away the power moves from Batista. All those power
And
moves.
you
The
dig it,
spine buster,
Saxton.
the Batista
The
bomb,
champ's in a
the
really
big boss
good
man
place
slam.
right now. He's
And
always had
that's when I
great
looked over
stamina.
at you,
See if it lasts
and
here.
I was a little worried.
Shockwave sent
And
down the
I had to
spine.
struggle to think, did Batista ever use the boss man slam?
I'm sure he may have in a match, but it's never been like a signature Dave move. But JBL talked about it like it was a famous Dave move.
He's
Yeah, like I remember spears,
Yeah.
spine busters, power bombs.
Yes.
That's pretty much it.
Batista bites early
Oh, I
on.
was about to say Batista bite.
Yes. So later on, Edge was taking over. He had taken over Batista after throwing him into a ring post. Batista started to fight back. He went for a spear on Edge. Edge moved, and Batista ran again, shoulder first, like a big dummy, into the ring post. Now this is where I have to criticize Michael Cole.
Oh, you say
What a
like a big
clothesline.
dummy.
One of Jordan's notes is Batista's retarded, but that's not till the finish.
Yes.
I have to criticize Michael Cole here because Edge. That's not how it's supposed to be ended. Because
Oh
Edge.
my God.
Because Edge moved out of the way of the spear, and he went into the ring post to Batista. And Michael Cole said Edge isn't known for his speed game. Now, like, yeah, Edge isn't.
But
Out of him and Batista,
Edge is the fastest.
yes.
I would probably say Edge has probably got the speed advantage over Batista. This is a weird time period we've entered.
Yes.
With Mick Foley winning the Fatal 4-Way.
Fair 5,
Oh, shit, that's right.
But-
There's a ghost out there.
and he lost. But Edge, quicker than Batista. Don't be fooled by. Don't be fooled by Michael Cole. Edge kept working over Batista. There was a spot where Edge went through, went for the spear, and Batista countered it into a spear of his own.
Yeah.
And that was actually pretty cool. And I thought that was cool because I remembered their spot at that one draft night where they went for that same thing, but they
it-
bonked heads.
I was going to say, that one draft night, was it the one that they were fighting at when Vince blew up?
No, but it's actually the one they were fighting at where the money thing fell on Vince.
Oh, boy.
A lot
Vince
of
McMahon and his death during the draft.
bad stuff happened to Vince in the draft. After
Drafting the NWO to SmackDown was number
That was pretty bad. But where was I in my notes? Edge? Oh yes. Batista, he started to fight back. He had Edge on his shoulders. And at first, it looked like he went for a Samoan drop. But because Edge had been working over his shoulders so much, it actually turned into the fact that, like,
Edge start.
he was a submission.
Yeah.
Batista fell back, and
For the Samoan drop, but Edge held on.
you know what? These guys are. We made a comparison. These guys are going to have to work in the case of Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch.
I was gonna say, in the case of Scott Dawson, Dash Wilder, you're getting Lance Cade, Trevor Murdoch.
Jeff
Yes. So they worked over the shoulders. Shut up. They worked over the shoulders of Batista. They being Edge. I got distracted by the 2 tag teams. I here set this up so I can look at my notes.
All right.
But I Clash of Champions.
I know
so,
what to do.
all
Why
right.
don't you tell me?
All right. Edge. Oh yes, Edge started working over Batista. Batista made a comeback. He hit a huge back body drop on Edge. Edge ran pretty damn high up into the crowd.
I wrote that too. Edge flew.
Yes. Actually, I said into the crowd, but he put into the ring.
He flew into the lights.
Yes. They charred.
You
They
got the wrong.
whatever. Put the vacated ones in because I accidentally set the Hardys as champion. Whatever. They started brawling. They traded roll-ups for a bit, which is actually
I also wrote that too.
I'm glad that's an also spot in a Batista match.
Yes.
Trading roll-ups. Edge set up for the spear. Batista hit him with a spear. Did they do that twice? No, that must have happened later in the match, and I mentioned it first.
Yeah.
All right. He set up Batista set up for a Batista bomb, but Edge low-blowed him.
Yeah.
And Batista won by DQ, but you can't win the title that way. So the crowd was mad.
The crowd was pissed.
The crowd was heated because they knew this was Big Dave's last chance. And everybody who's cool and not named Justin likes Batista. Everyone who's not a loser likes Batista. So they
Damn
wanted
right.
to see Batista win.
All of Houston is cool, and they wanted Batista to win.
Yes. But Edge, he outsmarted Batista. He outsmarted us all. He started to walk to the back with his title, but that's when my notes just say, Teddy.
Holla, holla, holla. Ted shows up and restarts.
Ted shows up and restarts the match. He says, yo, Big Edge, if you get disqualified, you're losing the title. Home dog. And he walked to the back.
Holla, holla, player.
Edge runs out and he starts
What's the Matt Militant?
going again.
Oh my God, the whole world's
All right, so Edge gets back in the ring and he starts working over Batista's back. He then hits the spear for a 2 count. And Batista kicks out and Edge is like, oh my, what do I do now?
He's an animal.
So Edge, animal. Oh yeah, they were trading punches and Michael Cole just goes, Edge, animal, trading punches.
I'm like, who the hell's animal? From the Muppets?
Yes. So they're trading punch. No, Edge goes outside after Batista kicks out of the spear. He grabs a chair, but then he throws it down in disgust. He's like, oh shit, I can't get disqualified. Batista takes over. They start fighting again. Batista goes to the outside. He hits a Batista bomb on Edge on the outside.
And he tries to pin him also, which made me even, like, cringe a little bit.
He takes his long-ass time getting Edge back in the ring.
Batista's a big guy. I don't know why it struggled. Maybe it's because Edge worked the arms.
Maybe.
Maybe.
The champ comes
Okay,
into
now I'm
his
thinking
title
about it
defense
now.
incredibly
That makes more
confident, Corey.
sense.
And with good reason,
Edge
Cole.
working the
When you're the
shoulders
champ,
so
you don't
much
have to
that
worry about
in the
winning.
back
You
that
just have to
Batista
make
really
sure
could
you
not
don't
lift him
lose.
up and put him back.
That is the champion's
That
advantage.
10 count, and he couldn't even get in. Maybe that's why it took Batista so long to put him back
Corey,
in.
some
Maybe
people are saying the
Dave
champ
was
will
selling.
make short work of his
Wait a minute,
opposition
but
here. Are you
yeah,
expecting the
even
same
if he
outcome?
was selling, you
That's
could
just
still say that
ludicrous,
Dave
Cole.
is
I
retarded because he
realize
could
the
just
champ is
rolled in
impressive.
and then
Yes.
rolled back out to break it
Now,
up.
if he was
That
in there
would've
with somebody
broken the
like
count.
Yeah.
He didn't do that.
then
He
yes,
did
I
it.
agree with that.
But that would
he's
have
not.
wasted time to get the pin. So
Oh,
I guess you
save
can
his
just
heart?
I guess you can justify all of Batista's stupidity.
Yeah.
But anyway, he got Edge back in the ring, but he himself got counted out. Edge retains the title by count out. So Batista gets mad and he Batista bombs Edge after.
I mean, at this point, can Batista only be mad at himself?
I think so. This was my favorite match of the
Yeah.
night.
I'm gonna give this one.
Introducing the
3.5.
challenger.
I was actually thinking around the same thing.
As combined weight
Good.
of 400.
You know what's not a 3.5-star match? The next match.
And Scott Dawson.
Up next we had the women's title. Before the women came out, they showed a replay of Wendy Richard versus the Fabulous Moolah as Spider Lady. When Moolah screwed over Richard, like who cares? It was Candice Michelle challenging for the women's title against Melina.
Jeff Hardy.
All right. The match started with Melina. She went for the test of strength.
This is
she
the second test of strength.
She put her hands up. She wanted it. And
I thought you were gonna do it for real.
as Candice
We're
goes...
gonna act it out on the podcast.
As
Why do I keep calling this a podcast?
As Candice goes for a test of strength, Melina kicks her. And,
Right in the womb.
And I said, aw, and Jordan said, aw, and even Jay was like, I was anticipating that. So me, Jordan, and Jim Ross wanted to see
All
this.
disappointed. We were wanting to see this Melina test of strength.
Melina, Candice, Michelle, which one of these women is stronger?
Look at the
That was the only highlight of
intensity
this
in the eyes
match.
of the Sheik
Yeah.
right now, guys.
This
Talk
match-
about being
Shit!
laser-focused.
Actual, I wrote
And you get the
actual,
feeling that this crowd wants
Melina's
to
in
be a part
control.
of history here in this
Candice is in
championship
control.
match.
actual dog shit. Those are my only notes, and I feel justified.
My notes verbatim. My notes. Melina headbutt a bitch. Melina choke a bitch. Melina fell like an idiot. Go daddy elbow
I
drop.
wonder what Jeff Hardy could be thinking right now.
I'm happy
What do
to
you
remember
expect his
the
approach
program.
to be here?
And the finish was, they say it was a spinning kick.
It was not a
It was
kick.
a side elbow and possibly a kick to Melina's vagina, which is a double hit. I guess.
I guess you can say that's the most deadliest combo we've ever seen in the case.
She elbowed Melina in the face and
low bloated right in the vagina. So
Candice Michelle's the women's champion. I would give this less than... I'm going to give this a dud. If I gave the tag title match a half a star because of Sergeant Slaughter, none of these women lived up to Sergeant Slaughter.
Now it's Dash
I give that match. If I was joking about the minus 5 stars,
Extremely
this match was dog shit. I'm not even gonna. I can't even talk about it anymore.
battery.
All right, we're at the main event.
Thank God. This is going fast.
WWE title, the first ever Fatal 5-Way, hopefully.
The last ever Fatal 5-Way, hopefully.
Booker T, Randy Orton, Bobby Lashley, Mick Foley, and champion John Cena.
Why is Mick Foley in this match in 2007?
Well, you see, I looked up the storyline because they didn't explain it. And the storyline was Bobby Lashley, Randy Orton, Mick Foley, and Booker T all came out on a Raw and said, cut a promo about why they should be number one contender. So Jonathan Coachman came out and said, y'all number one contender.
Dropped by a clothesline.
That was a bill.
That was
All
bullshit.
right. Now, the champion that they showed before this was JBL.
I was about to say.
Now, JBL was on commentary, so JBL handed a note to the ring crew guy to hand to Justin Roberts to read. And I paused this a few times, and I wrote this note down line for line. So this is what JBL had referenced. John Bradshaw Lakefield came from humble beginnings. He grew up on a poor dirt farm right here in Texas, to go on to make millions of dollars upon leaving the Lone Star State. Now residing in a lavish penthouse apartment in New York City, John Bradshaw Layfield not only dominates Wall Street, but dominates all forms of media. The John Bradshaw Layfield radio show is broadcasted on over 150 stations, and he can be seen regularly on the Fox News channel. Including JBL's physical dominance, made him the longest reigning WWE champion in nearly 10 years. JBL is not only the greatest champion in sports entertainment history, but also your wrestling god. Amen. And I have decided that every time JBL shows up on a Raw's Andrew episode, I'm going to read that pay-per-view. I'm going to read that as he makes his entrance. All right. Now, my first note that I had about this match was, this is such a...
About the speech.
Oh,
I got JBL get some recognition. Cole looks fucking disgusting.
that's right. I wrote down the speech.
Justin Roberts is reading off a note card.
Jordan wrote down what was going on around the speech.
And there was a black guy in the crowd with a title who was really pro JBL.
As he should be.
Wrestling God was the last thing I wrote.
Damn right.
Amen.
That was beautiful. So the first thing I noticed was, this is a weird match.
Oh, and a terrific reversal by
All right.
Mrs.
First
Wilder.
Fatal 5-Way.
Now, I'm going to read these. A lot of shit happened. There was no rope. movement in this match.
Yeah.
There's always movement. So I'm going to read this. It would have been hard to write down everything. So I'm going to read this note for note, and then Jordan can read his stuff, and then we'll talk about it more.
Alright.
More death. Alright. Booker left the ring.
Okay, we got the same thing right there. Booker left the ring.
Alright.
He dipped out.
He got a massage from his wife.
Yeah.
All the faces beat up Randy Orton. Lashley hit a big backdrop on Randy Orton. John Cena hit his bulldog. Mick Foley hit his big pole outside the ring. All four men, Foley, Cena, Orton, and Booker, end up on the outside. Bobby Lashley hits a huge dive over the top rope, and it doesn't look like a controlled dive. He looks insane.
He is what exactly you would think Lesnar would do if he was diving.
Yes. Thank God there were four men out there. If there were any less, he may have just fallen right on his head.
He looked like he did into that pile.
Yes. Lashley and Cena get in the ring. They start trading punches. They trade their button collection. Lashley hits a big spine buster on Cena. The beginning of this match was really Lashley looking down. Again, more stuff happening on the outside. Foley ran. He jogged. He lightly stepped, and he attacked Randy Orton.
It's hard to believe.
Yes. Foley and Booker T started brawling over on the other side of the ring. Randy Orton went for an RKO on the outside onto Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley threw him off. He much said, yeah, you can't beat me up. Right as he turns around, John Cena AA's him through the announce table.
It was really like during this match, at this time, where we started like thinking and noticing, and we're like,
Great job
in 2 years, 2 of these guys won't even be in this company.
They're being TNA.
Yes. So, good for them.
Bad for them.
Yeah, I was about to say good for them. I was like, terrible.
Booker T and John Cena get in the ring. Booker T, it's his cool sidekick where he has the arm. And
not like he did in this video.
No.
Wide as fuck.
And he kicks a big sidekick on Cena for 2. He does a scissors kick on Cena, goes for the pin. Randy breaks it up. Dumbass. Trevor Murdoch. I guess that'd be Lance Cade. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think he might have slipped a little too.
If I just said who that is, like Scott Dawson.
The challenger's starting to slow down a bit here. You can bet he's not going to let this
all right.
golden opportunity slip so
That's
easily.
true.
It looks to me like he's really
Trevor Murdoch bald?
Really isn't
All right,
necessary.
so let's
Considering
continue.
capable partner
Booker's
he could tag in.
Randy broke up the
Yeah, but
pin.
he's still in considerably
They kept
better
fighting.
overall
Cena went for a
shape
"You
than
Can't
his
See Me" on
opponent
Booker
right
T
now.
as he ran a rope.
Seems to me
Randy
like
Orton
there's
came in,
still
hit an
plenty of fight
RKO
left in him.
onto John Cena. Went for the pin, Foley broke it up. Double arm DDT onto Randy Orton from Mick Foley after a little brawling between those two. Instead of going for the pin, he reaches down for the sock,
Yep.
and he called,
a good sniff.
but he got super kicked by Booker T before he could do anything with that sock.
That was impressive, Cole.
When Mick got back in the ring, he got a chair. He went to hit Booker T. Booker T ducked, and he hit Bobby Lashley, who just got back on the apron. Then he just turned around and whacked Booker T anyway.
Yeah.
He then whacked John Cena with the chair, and then Randy Orton hit him from behind before he would be hit by the chair himself. Randy Orton actually had a punt onto Mick Foley. Yeah, he hit the punt. It was right before Bobby Lashley hit the spear to Randy Orton. Booker T hit the big jumping sidekick to Bobby Lashley. John Cena went for the FU onto Booker T, but Booker T landed on the apron. Cena just sort of did that neck breaker thing, so Booker T fell off. He didn't hit the FU onto Mick Foley to pick up the victory. John Cena, WWE champion.
I thought you actually did get the spot where Cena AA Lashley.
No, I did. That was after the RKO.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
All right, so I was like,
Because you're like, huh?
He's sending a message to the entire
Alright, so let's talk about this sock thing. So, we made a joke about Mick Foley's love for socks and keeping it in his pants.
he's
really applying pressure now, guys.
always had the sock probably since high school.
The
Maybe
same,
before.
the same sock in his pants since high school.
It all started as overcompensation at first.
Yes.
And now it's kind of turned to his gimmick.
It's become a weapon, and the reason is Mick Foley decided to stop trying to overcompensate, and he pretty much said, if you insult the cock, you get the sock.
He was like, I have a small cock. They get the sock. Foley 2000 whatever.
Foley 2000 whatever. The last site that we paused and never gone was two guys.
Two very disgusted looking men.
They were disgusted, but the best part was they had two different faces of disgust.
Yes.
One looked defeated, one looked pissed.
Yeah. I think that's a good foresight into what this people. At times I felt
Here we go with
defeated,
Matt Hardy.
Yes.
but at times I wasn't. I don't think I was really pissed about the show.
No.
I was just like, huh.
I think we had nostalgia glasses on watching this, and these old guys are back. I bet if we watch this back, probably with the exception of the Edge Batista match,
It was awesome.
I wouldn't watch this back.
Yeah.
And the double team does the
And
job.
with that being said,
He's looking for
that
the
was our
win.
Backlash review. Which,
Backlash.
I mean,
Motherfucker. Vengeance.
a Vengeance review. We'll try to do at least one review a week.
Try.
I promise it'll be on Friday. Hits on Saturday. Whatever.
Twist his face. Go, Matt. Go. Jeff. Go, Jeff.
Statement here with
That's
this
the end.
attack.
Thanks for coming out. This show sucked. Any
Did.
final
Do you wanna-
thoughts?
I was gonna say,
Backbreaker. Corey, that
overall
looked
grade of the show.
That should do it.
I'll give it a.
Let's see.
I'll give it.
Let
a
me go match by
He
match.
gets
I'm
it
gonna
with
try
a
to do the
counter.
math here. This is gonna be
Oh, I was going to just say, if you want to do like a. I'm just
He's
probably
too
going to do
quick
it.
for him there.
I'll do it later.
Can I have that pencil real quick?
Nothing fancy
Oh,
from
you
there.
here? You take the headset while I do.
All right.
Power. He's not looking good
With
here,
this
Byron.
being
Oh, he's gotta
the
get
first
up, but he's gotta
Fatal
get up
Five-Way,
now.
that being a historical moment, seeing how now, the Fatal Five-Way is something we cannot escape.
Look at Dash
And-
Wilder stalking him.
I'll admit, we were probably watching this from nostalgia, seeing guys like young CM Punk, seeing guys like Hayden Murdoch,
Dash Wilder.
Jimmy Wang
Can he
Yang,
follow up here?
Taken down with authority.
I'll admit, like I said, the crowd probably
This should do it right
was
there.
as infectious also for this pay-per-view
Three, no, a kick out just in
because
time. Yeah, but he's
it was,
hurt,
like I said,
guys.
the first Fatal
Not where he wants to
Five-Way,
be
I
right
keep saying
now.
Fatal Four-Way,
Yeah, you're
Fatal
not gonna
Five-Way,
win many matches when you're down.
Batista versus Edge with the last chance, with the do or die stakes. I'll say it was a solid B. I
He's in a
mean,
tough spot here, Corey.
there's a lot
And
of
if he doesn't
there's
get up,
there's
it's
some
gonna
good
get a
pros
lot
with this.
tougher.
The Cade Murdoch match was good. Chavo and Jimmy for that
I
cruiserweight
don't
match.
think I'd be showboating if I was Dawson.
I'll give it a 2.5.
If Dash knows
Two-
what's good
two and-
for him,
two and
he'll
three
cut
quarters.
that stuff out pretty quick.
It was a good match, but it could have left more.
With the title on the line.
It seemed like even at this point, like we were talking about, you could already hear like people getting tired of Cena. So, yeah, people were definitely not okay. But
How can Scott
There's
Dawson
that's
be
your
put on the
Vengeance Night
offensive
Champions. Like I
quickly
said,
here?
I give
The
it a
champ clearly getting the best
solid
of
B.
him here.
It looks to me like he may have lost focus there for a minute. He was really cruising for a while.
A C minus.
Look at this. Now that's how you successfully defend your title. Things just went from bad to worse for Dash
Oh.
Wilder.
So I know I didn't enjoy it that much.
Yes.
I don't.
I got a 11.2 star show, but then I remembered I did not like it that much. So math don't work that way. So I'm
He's
giving it
not
a C
getting out.
minus.
You can't like his chances right now.
That's couldn't ask for a better grade.
Wow, missed by a mile.
And a C minus from Andrew. You're more of a critical. If you ask me, you're the more critical note taker. I'm more based off of like big moments.
Doesn't show any signs of getting up here, guys.
We'll get back
He's
into the
taking
swing of
one heck
things.
a beating, Michael.
Oh,
We'll see more better pay-per-views. We may look at this match back.
and be like, this was dog shit.
This is definitely not a good. All right.
All right, good night. See you later. See you next.